Some of the most dangerous forces in your life aren't supernatural beings with horns or wings. They are ordinary people hiding behind familiar faces. A so-called friend, a family member, even a romantic partner. While on the surface, they seem supportive underneath. They're quietly draining your energy, crushing your confidence, and feeding off your self-worth. The scariest part. They blend in so well that by the time you realize something is wrong, the damage is already done. In today's video, we'll uncover 5 clear warning signs that someone in your life may actually be a demon in disguise, not in a religious sense, but in the way they poison your mind, emotions, and daily life. These behaviors often go unnoticed at first because they start subtly, but once you understand what to look for, you'll see them with absolute clarity. And spotting them early could spare you years of unnecessary pain and emotional exhaustion. I highly encourage you to watch this video all the way through. If you're short on time, increase the speed, but don't skip it. The insights you're about to gain might just give you the clarity you need to break free from these hidden predators once and for all. Now let's begin. Have you ever noticed someone who always leaves you feeling mentally drained after even a short conversation? You meet for coffee or a casual chat, but when you walk away, it feels like your energy has been completely stripped. That's no accident. This is one of the key signs of an emotional parasite, a demon in plain sight, feeding on your vitality while leaving you weaker each time. This brings us to the first major sign that you may be dealing with a true emotional predator in disguise. These individuals are masters of draining the energy of those around them. They have an uncanny ability to turn every interaction into something that revolves around their own needs and experiences. You could be opening up about something deeply personal, perhaps the grief of losing a beloved pet, and before you know it, they've hijacked the conversation to tell you about how their own experience was even worse or more tragic, no matter how unrelated it might be. It's never about listening to or supporting you. It always circles back to them. Pay close attention during these interactions. You'll notice that they frequently interrupt. You dominate the flow of conversation and leave almost no space for your own voice or feelings. But here's where it gets especially unsettling. While you walk away from these exchanges feeling emotionally drained and mentally exhausted, they often appear invigorated, energized, even buzzing with life. That's not your imagination. It's because they are literally feeding off your emotional energy. Unlike healthy individuals who create and manage their own emotional well-being, these so-called demons cannot generate it on their own. They rely on siphoning it from others, and you become their primary source. Think about your experiences with genuine friends. After spending time together, even if you're tired, it's the kind of tired that comes with connection. You feel fulfilled, understood, and uplifted. Real friendships involve a mutual exchange of energy. You both give and receive in ways that nurture the relationship. But with these toxic individuals, it is entirely one-sided. They take relentlessly, offering nothing of value in return. And you are left hollowed out, questioning why you always feel so depleted after spending time with them. If you want to test whether someone in your life fits this pattern, try conducting a simple reflection. Before meeting them, take a moment to check in with yourself. Notice your current energy levels, your mood, and your overall emotional state. Then, after spending time with them, do another check. If you repeatedly find yourself feeling drained, emotionally heavy, or even mildly depressed after these encounters, that is a major warning sign. And don't fall into the trap of blaming yourself. You are not being overly sensitive, and this is not about poor boundaries. These people have subtly conditioned you to excuse their behavior and overlook the harm they cause. The truth is, this no healthy interaction should leave you consistently feeling empty and worn out. So this is the first unmistakable sign that someone in your life may be a demon in disguise. They are emotional parasites, energy vampires, who feed on your life force while giving nothing in return. If this pattern sounds familiar to you, don't be discouraged. By the end of this video, you will have the tools and understanding you need to recognize these predators and take back your power once and for all. Now let's explore the second powerful indicator that someone in your life may in fact be a demon in disguise. They deliberately work to separate you from everyone who truly cares about you. And the most unsettling part, they do it so gradually, so skillfully, that you'll often believe the decision to pull away from others was entirely your own. I once witnessed this firsthand with someone I'll call Bella. She used to be full of life, surrounded by loving family, close friends, and an active social circle. Then, she became close to someone new, a person who seemed incredibly kind and supportive at first. But within just a few short months, Bella's entire world had changed. She no longer saw her friends, rarely spoke to her family, and seemed convinced that everyone except this new person had somehow abandoned her. The heartbreaking truth was that this so-called friend had masterfully isolated her, leaving her emotionally dependent and deeply vulnerable. What makes this form of manipulation so dangerous is that it happens in such a subtle, calculated way. It starts small. The demon plants little seeds of doubt using seemingly innocent comments that quietly chip away at your trust in others. You might hear remarks like, "Did you notice how your brother looked annoyed when you spoke?" Or, "I think your friends only call when they need something from you." Over time, these comments sow insecurity and suspicion, making you question the intentions of those you once trusted. It doesn't stop there. They are experts at exploiting tiny cracks in your relationships, taking minor misunderstandings and spinning them into signs of deep betrayal or hidden resentment. Before you know it, they convince you that the people who once supported you have been against you all along. Next comes a more overt level of control. They begin engineering situations where you feel forced to choose between them and your other relationships. The choices are framed in such a way that spending time with loved ones seems like a personal rejection of the demon. After everything I've done for you, you're really going to skip helping me just to see your mom. The guilt trips intensify, leaving you emotionally conflicted and worn down. Then there are the so-called emergencies, perfectly timed crises that arise conveniently when you try to see friends or family. You'll cancel your plans out of obligation, only to discover the issue somehow resolved itself once your evening was free again. And through it all, they feed you the illusion that your bond with them is unique, unmatched. "No one understands you like I do," they'll say. "No one else really gets you the way I can." This creates a false sense of importance around the relationship, making it seem more valuable than any of your other connections. Before long, your world shrinks. You stop reaching out to others, either out of exhaustion or to avoid conflict. Slowly, you become isolated, completely dependent on this one person for emotional connection. And that is exactly where they want you. If you suspect this might be happening in your life, pause and take an honest look at how your relationships have shifted since this person entered the picture. Have you grown distant from people who once mattered deeply to you? Do you find yourself making excuses not to attend gatherings or to avoid bringing this person around your friends and family? Do you feel anxious about how they might react if you maintain other connections? This isolation is intentional. When you're surrounded by loving, supportive people, those people can offer you perspective. They can help you see when something isn't right. But once you're cut off, you become far more susceptible to the demon's manipulations. Remember, as human beings, we thrive on a rich network of relationships. Anyone who seeks to monopolize your time, attention, and emotional life does not have your best interests at heart. They have an agenda of control, and that is the second unmistakable sign that you may be dealing with a demon in your life. They are strategically and methodically isolating you from everyone else who loves and supports you. Now let's move into the third unmistakable sign that you may have a demon hiding in your life. This one is especially sinister because it doesn't just attack your emotions, it targets your very sense of reality. I'm referring to reality distortion, a psychological weapon designed to destabilize your mind and make you question your own perceptions. Have you ever spoken with someone, remembered the conversation in vivid detail, only to have them later insist it never happened? And they do it with such absolute certainty and calm that you begin doubting yourself. You wonder, did I imagine that? Am I losing my grip on reality? Let me reassure you, you are not losing your mind. You are being manipulated. These kinds of demons are skilled in a tactic known as gaslighting, a sophisticated form of psychological manipulation that warps your understanding of what is real. They will look you straight in the eye and claim, "I never said that," even when you know they did. They will make promises only to later insist no such promises were made. They might even move your belongings and then accuse you of misplacing them. What makes this behavior especially dangerous is how they distort not just the present, but also your entire sense of history. They rewrite events on the fly to suit their needs. For example, they might tell you, "I've always supported your dreams," when in truth, they've sabotaged your efforts at every turn. Or they might suddenly claim, "I never liked that friend of yours," despite having been perfectly friendly to them just the day before. This constant rewriting of reality keeps you in a state of confusion where nothing feels solid or certain. Conversations that begin with you calmly expressing your feelings can end with you apologizing to them even when you did nothing wrong. It's like they use verbal and emotional judo, turning your words and emotions back on you to maintain control. What's even more insidious is their timing. They know exactly when you are most emotionally vulnerable, when you're tired, stressed, or feeling off balance. And that is when they strike hardest. In these compromised moments, your ability to trust your own memory and judgment is at its weakest, making their manipulations even more effective. Over time, the effects of living in this warped reality can be devastating. You begin second-guessing everything: your memories, your feelings, your instincts. You catch yourself thinking, "Maybe I really am too sensitive," or "Maybe I misunderstood what happened." This relentless self-doubt chips away at your self-confidence and leaves you increasingly dependent on the demon to tell you what's real. One of the most powerful ways to fight back against this kind of manipulation is to document reality for yourself. Keep a private journal where you record important conversations, promises, and incidents soon after they occur. Having a written record gives you something concrete to rely on when the demon tries to convince you otherwise. And remember this: in a healthy relationship, the people around you help clarify reality, not confuse it. If you find yourself mentally exhausted, constantly questioning what is true and what is false in a relationship, that is a major red flag. It is not normal. This tactic of bending reality and eroding your trust in your own mind is the third clear sign that someone in your life may in fact be a demon in disguise. Now, before we move on to the fourth sign, I want to pause for a moment. If you're finding this information valuable and eye-opening, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. The truth is, understanding these hidden manipulations can be life-changing, and far too many people never recognize them until the damage is done. By subscribing, you're not only staying informed, you're joining a growing community of individuals committed to seeing through these subtle forms of control. So hit that subscribe button, and let's continue this journey together. Now we come to the fourth major sign that someone in your life might in truth be a demon in disguise. And of all the behaviors we've explored so far, this one is among the most unsettling and psychologically destabilizing. I'm talking about the split personality, the person who can flip without warning from being utterly charming to shockingly cruel. This is not the normal ups and downs of an average person, nor is it simply a bad mood. It is a deliberate extreme shift in personality used to keep you off balance and trapped in confusion and fear. Picture this. In public settings, they are magnetic. They light up the room, engage everyone with warmth, humor, and generosity. Friends, co-workers, and even strangers may tell you how fortunate you are to have this person in your life. On the surface, they appear to be the perfect companion, attentive, thoughtful, entertaining. But when the spotlight fades and the doors close behind you, everything changes. The warmth vanishes. The charming smile gives way to cold disdain or outright cruelty. What makes this dynamic so damaging is its unpredictability. You never know when the mask will slip. One moment they are affectionate and kind. The next, they are cutting and hostile, often over something so minor you cannot even pinpoint what triggered it. Was it a simple word you used? A tone they didn't like? Or something completely outside your awareness? The uncertainty keeps you in a constant state of tension. You begin to walk on eggshells forever, trying to anticipate and prevent their next outburst. And this is precisely how they maintain control. They understand that if you fear provoking them, you will begin adjusting your own behavior in desperate attempts to maintain peace. You will stifle your own needs, diminish your presence, and sacrifice your authenticity, all to avoid the wrath that lurks beneath their polished surface. Another layer to this manipulation is what psychologists refer to as love bombing. In certain phases, they will shower you with affection, praise attention, and even gifts, making you feel as though you are the most important person in their world. The joy and warmth of these moments can be intoxicating. But just as quickly, they will withdraw it all, leaving you isolated and emotionally starving. The sudden loss of affection leaves you questioning what went wrong and obsessing over how to get back to that fleeting period of bliss. This cycle of extreme highs, followed by crushing lows, is not accidental. It is a form of psychological conditioning known as intermittent reinforcement, the very same principle that underlies addiction. The unpredictability of the rewards makes them even more desirable. You find yourself trapped enduring escalating levels of mistreatment in the hopes of experiencing another rare moment of affection. Here's a sobering truth. This cycle is crafted with intent. By constantly destabilizing your emotions, they make it nearly impossible for you to view the relationship with clarity. You remain trapped in survival mode, too consumed by the shifting dynamics to step back and assess what is truly happening. If you suspect you may be caught in this kind of dynamic, begin by closely observing the patterns of their behavior. Are there clear phases of kindness, followed by cruelty? What seems to set off each shift? How long do these cycles last? Writing down these patterns can often reveal the manipulation that is otherwise hidden in the chaos. It's important to remember that healthy relationships do not operate this way. Even in the best of relationships, people may have off days, but they do not fundamentally change who they are. They do not build you up in public, only to tear you down in private. Genuine relationships are built on consistency, honesty, and trust, not fear and unpredictability. This kind of split personality, this deliberate cultivation of chaos, is the fourth undeniable sign that you may be dealing with a demon in your life. And it is a lesson that cannot be ignored. No matter how good the highs may feel, they do not compensate for systematic emotional abuse. Your peace of mind, your stability, your sense of self, these are not things you should sacrifice for fleeting moments of affection. Now we arrive at the fifth and final sign that someone in your life may be a demon in disguise. And this one strikes at the very heart of who you are. It's what I call soul erosion, a slow, insidious process where this person gradually strips away your identity, your self-worth, and your inner spark, until one day you hardly recognize yourself at all. Take a moment and think back to the version of yourself that existed before this person entered your life. What dreams lit you up? What hobbies filled you with joy? What were the qualities you loved about yourself? What made you laugh, feel alive, and stand tall in your uniqueness? Now ask yourself, how much of that person still remains today? For many people who have lived under the influence of such toxic forces, the answer is devastating. Somewhere along the way, pieces of themselves faded, replaced by doubt, fear, and a constant undercurrent of inadequacy. These soul-eroding demons are masters at undermining your dreams, passions, and sense of self. They rarely attack your goals directly. No, they are far more subtle. Instead of outright saying, "That's stupid," they cloak their criticism in the language of concern. They say things like, "That's a nice idea, but maybe you should set more realistic expectations," or "I just don't want to see you disappointed when it doesn't work out." Over time, every small comment chips away at your confidence until you stop reaching for your dreams entirely. They sow seeds of self-doubt that grow into towering forests of insecurity. Suddenly you find yourself second-guessing even the smallest decisions. Should you wear that? Should you speak up? Should you share your ideas? You hear their voice echoing in your head, disguised as your own inner critic. You might hear things like, "Are you sure that's a good idea? You don't want people to think you're foolish." Or, "You're lucky I put up with you, given how difficult you can be." Slowly, your vibrant inner voice becomes muted. One of the most maddening behaviors these individuals display is stealing credit for your ideas and achievements. You may share an idea with them only to have it dismissed. But a few days or weeks later, they present the very same idea as if it were their own stroke of genius. Or, when you accomplish something, they twist the narrative, implying that your success was only possible because of their guidance and support. They slowly convince you that you could never achieve anything without their influence. Over time, your personality begins to reshape itself around their approval and expectations. The confident, outgoing person you once were may shrink into someone cautious, quiet, and unsure. The laugh that once came easily may fade away because they criticized it as annoying. The hobbies and passions that once filled your life begin to disappear because pursuing them led to conflict or subtle mockery. One of the most sinister tools they use is criticism, disguised as love or care. They might say, "I'm only telling you this because I want what's best for you." Or, "Someone has to be honest with you. I'm just trying to help you improve." On the surface, it sounds supportive. But beneath it lies the true intent to erode your self-esteem and keep you dependent on their approval. Ask yourself honestly, how much of your energy is now spent trying to change or improve yourself in response to their criticism? How often do you hesitate to make decisions that you would have once handled confidently? How many aspects of your personality have you hidden away simply because they disapproved? The long-term impact of remaining entangled with such a person is profound. Your sense of self becomes so fractured that you no longer trust your own feelings, perceptions, or instincts. You begin living not for yourself, but in a constant effort to please them and avoid their disapproval. But here is the truth: they don't want you to realize everything they tried to steal from you is still within you. The vibrant, authentic self you once were has not been destroyed. It's simply been buried under layers of their manipulation. And with awareness and distance, you can begin the process of reclaiming every part of yourself they sought to erase. This theft of identity and spirit is the fifth and final sign that someone in your life may be a demon in disguise. And recognizing it is the first and most powerful step toward reclaiming your true self and stepping back into your power. Now that you've seen the 5 signs, the energy drainer who leaves you exhausted, the isolator who severs your connections, the manipulator who warps your reality, the unpredictable one who keeps you in fear, and the soul thief who erodes your identity, it's time to trust what you've learned and take meaningful steps forward. Recognizing these behaviors is only the beginning. Breaking free takes courage and intention. Start by reconnecting with those who truly care about you, the very people this toxic person may have driven away. Begin to create space between yourself and the demon, whether through firm boundaries or, when necessary, by cutting ties entirely. Healing will take time, so be patient with yourself. You may find it helpful to seek guidance from therapists experienced in emotional abuse or trauma. Books, support groups, and online communities can also remind you that you are not alone in this journey. And above all, remember this: you deserve relationships that uplift you, not ones that drain you. You deserve to be surrounded by people who embrace who you truly are not, those who seek to mold you into something you're not. And you absolutely have the right to reclaim every piece of yourself that was lost along the way. Now that you have this knowledge, don't allow yourself to fall back into the old patterns. Doing so would be like returning to a burning house you've already escaped. You've taken the first step toward a healthier, freer life. If you know someone else who may be caught in a similar situation, please share this video. It could be the lifeline they desperately need. And as you continue this journey, the YouTube algorithm has already selected another video that will help guide you further. Click on the recommendation that's appearing now. Your future self will be grateful you kept moving forward.